Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Amsterdam Talk Season 4. I can't mess this number up because it's episode 2. I normally start messing them up once I get down to like the 20 something. But today we have author, inventor, speaker, and realtor in the building, Mr. Jorge Gonzalez.
Hello,
Welcome.
Rod. Thank you so much for having me today. Super excited to be here with you.
All right, before we get started, just tell us about yourself.
Well, I am a published author of a book called Answer the Call. Answer the Call is
Mhm.
about finding your gifts, your talents, and pursuing your life's purpose. I'm also an inventor of a batting machine that we call the Batting Pro. I'm also a real estate agent, and now I'm also a public speaker and looking to share the stories, share the lessons that I talk about in my book, and hopefully motivate, inspire the next generation and anyone that's looking to reinvent themselves.
Okay. All right. So inside your book, Answer the Calls, life lessons from family origins through invention and struggle. How did you come up with this title?
I'm glad you asked me that because I always want to make sure I share this story because I'm an inventor. I was actually going to call my book American Inventor. And that day that I was on the phone with my publishing company, I heard the most powerful, sweetest voice anyone can ever hear. And there's no mistake whose voice it is. And this was the second time I heard this voice. And that voice said, "Answer the call." And then I heard it a second time, "Answer the call." And then I spoke it out loud in my publishing company because I was on the phone with them, asked me, "What is that, George?" And I go, "That's the name of the book. Where did you get that from?" It was just whispered to me. And they said, "Yes, that's right. That's the name of the book. We're scrapping American Inventor and we're going with Answer the Call."
Okay. So that's how you came up with the title. So how
Yes.
did you figure to put the contents in this book?
And 2 weeks later, the meaning of Answer the Call came to me. And Answer the Call is about finding your gifts, your talents, and pursuing your life purpose. That's what Answer the Call means. When I decided that I wanted to write a book was 25 years ago. My father was given 6 months to live. He had cirrhosis of the liver from drinking,
Hmm.
and I was with him at the doctor in Southern California, UCLA University. And the doctor looked at me and said, "I need you to tell your dad that he has 6 months to live," because my father didn't speak English. I looked at my dad and go, "Dad, the doctor tells me that you have 6 months to live." He looked shocked, didn't say anything. He just got up from the chair and just started walking out. And I walked down behind him. It was me, my younger sister, and my father walking out. And on the way to my car, I was like, this story has to be told. The story about consequences of substance abuse has to be told. And also the story that a family is going to endure because of the consequences of somebody's actions, and we're going to be collateral damage. But nothing really came to me at that time as far as opportunity to share the story until the pandemic in 2021 when I was actually called to write the book.
Okay. So once that was first heard, the doctor told you to say that. Like, how was that ride like in the car? Like, what was discussed between you and your sister, or you and your father, or your sister and your father?
Well, my sister was only 10 years old, so there wasn't much communication as far as that because I don't even think she understood it. And
Right.
as far as my father, he didn't accept that to be his reality. He didn't believe that. First of all, he didn't feel like he was gonna be gone in 6 months, even though he was sick. He must have felt, no, 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 that's not my reality. That's his reality, not mine. And I think we made a commitment as a family that we were going to look at natural medicines and natural doctors to help, prolong his life.
Hmm.
And because we were committed to that, and that in prayer, of course, because we had a lot of faith. We asked God and we cried to God and said, "Look, we need him here longer. He's only 45. At the time, he was only 45." And we were actually able to keep him with us for an additional 8 years because of the natural medicines we actually gave him. So actually passed away at 53.
Mm, wow. But also in your book, you state that you had a disability. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. But
That's
also
okay.
in your book, you said that you had a disability that, left you unable to continue in your field.
Yes. Yeah. When I was 39 years old, I actually had a work-related accident, and it disabled me for 3.5 years. I had three herniated discs, one in my lower back, L5, one at mid spine, and one in my neck. And that injury, like I said, it disabled me for 3.5 years. I couldn't sit for long periods of time. I couldn't stand. I couldn't lay down, and I was so heavily medicated. I was depressed. I had suicidal thoughts,
Hmm.
and then but then I started. It's almost like I got a reality check. It's like, wait a minute, this is not the end for me. There's more to my life. I know there's a calling in my life. I still didn't know what my calling in my life was, but I knew deep down inside that I've always had a calling in my life. And so I got off the medication and I started looking at natural things to really heal my body for
Hmm.
inflammation and whatnot to ease the pain. I started doing yoga stretching, stretching my spine, and those kind of things. And then I heard the whisper for the very first time that said real estate. And that's when I made a decision to actually become a real estate agent, because I had already been involved in real estate since I was 14 years old, doing kitchen and
Right.
bathroom models and rehabs with my dad and my uncle. So it made sense that I could do an easy transition from the career that I had into real estate, because I had that knowledge and background from real estate.
Right. Okay. So you went into real estate, but that wasn't the calling though, right?
No, that definitely wasn't the calling. The calling was me writing the book and talking about my journey and talking about the stories that I've always wanted to talk about. And now going on podcasts, going on stages, and motivating, inspiring the next generation, and talk to them about their gifts, their talents, and pursuing their life's purpose. Now, that is the calling of my life.
Okay. So you've been on multiple stages. So what is it like when you're giving your truths or speaking what you're speaking to hundreds or thousands of people and you're on stage?
It's really humbling, and I feel at home. I feel like I'm at that place to be at, because I've always, even when I was an early teenager, I knew that I was special. I knew that I was here for something greater than myself. I've always had that knowing, and I just didn't know what it looked like yet. But like I said, when I wrote this book and that exposed itself to me, and I'm, wait a minute, this is what I'm supposed to do. Because when I started giving away the book for free on my social media platforms, people were reaching out to me and whatnot. They were opening up themselves to me, and I started coaching and motivating them. And then I started getting invited to podcasts, started getting invited to universities, and on stage. After the stage was what really changed my life, because I had these 20-year-olds, 22, 23, 24-year-olds coming to after stage and told me, Mr. Gonzalez, I wasn't going to be here today, but something told me last night that I should be here today. And I resonated with the stories that you talked about, with the struggles, the things that you overcame. I resonate with that. But just to let you know that I was actually going to take my life last night. So
Right.
when they said that, I knew that that was where I was supposed to be at. I'm supposed to be here to motivate, inspire the next generation, and anyone that's looking to reinvent themselves, trying to get out of themselves, of overcoming some tragic event that they might have encountered.
So we always hear this term, and I'm going to air quote it. How do you? We all say, "I need to reinvent. I need to do this." How do you reinvent? I mean, when you look at it, um, people say, "I need to reinvent myself. Maybe I need to move in another direction. Maybe I need to do this." But like, how do you really repackage and rebrand yourself?
I'm really glad you asked that, because if you've never changed careers, never had to do something different than what you're known to do and you're comfortable with, you
Hmm.
wouldn't know how to navigate through that.
Right.
But once someone tells you that, you realize how extremely simple that is. Now, for me, I brought my previous experience when I was 14 years old into the real estate industry. So I've been a real estate agent since 2015. Now, also, I was in management, in warehouse distribution and logistics. I've always held this leadership and management role. So
Hmm.
basically, my journey in what I've gone through over the years, I've been picking up the pieces of the puzzle through my experiences in real estate and how to deal with clients, customer service, managing and directing, coaching, and mentoring people along the way for 20 years as a manager. And because I had like 260 people working for me, different personalities, different backgrounds, and whatnot, being able to package that all together and then being able to talk about my experiences in my book and really having the control, the complete picture of it, and now talking about everything. So basically, I was bringing my relatable experience forward, everything that I've gone through in the past, and then packaged it in such a way where now it's become something different. Me being a public speaker, getting on stages, going on podcasts, and really talking about the story. And also, too, I've always been a very social individual,
Right.
and God knows that I have a very big mouth. That anything that I learn, I don't keep it to myself. I'm always sharing everything, wisdom, knowledge, and everything that I learn. I'm always sharing that. So it only makes sense for this to be my calling because this is what I do naturally.
Okay. So basically, you're telling people not to be afraid, not to fear anything. You just gotta go ahead and do it.
Yeah, pick up your experiences. So if you're in one career, write those things down. What am I good at here? What do I do? What really fulfills me there? Jot them down. Almost always bring everything that's functional now, and you'll realize, wait a minute, there's a lot of things that I can do here.
Hmm.
I can get into this field, or that field. Now, another thing too is that society has made us believe that a hobby is just a hobby, and that's not true. A hobby is a gift, and a hobby is a talent. I
Right.
cannot write music. I'm not a singer. I don't write poetry. I do not draw or paint. None of that stuff. I don't do sculptures. So if that is your gift and that's your talent, then find a way to share it to the masses, because that 9 times out of 10, that's probably your calling, is sharing that. Because I realized as I'm older that I could see a painting and I feel like the painting is telling me a story. So if you're a painter, you're a cartoonist or whatever, you're telling stories, and those stories change lives. Same thing like music. You'll get in your car, you turn on the radio, and there's a music playing talking about this event that you just experienced. Like, wait a minute, how do they know my story? Well, that music, that song is supposed to help you through that process, you know?
Right. So, say someone, you're getting it out to the masses. What you say you're doing, your talent. But say someone just do it for therapeutic purposes. Like, I really don't want to. I'm just going to silence myself. I'm just do it for therapeutic purpose. I don't really want anybody to see this. How do you get them to say no? This needs to be shared with the world.
I will tell you this: the moment you're not obedient,
Hmm.
life is going to hit you hard
Right.
until you become obedient. Because if you have a gift and a talent in a life's purpose and you're meant to share that, you will not leave this earth, this life, until you fulfill that. And in the meantime, you're going to get hit from every direction until you move into placement of that. And I tell you from experience,
So you got to find placement.
you have to find the placement, and you have to understand, wait a minute, if I'm good at this, if I'm being called to this, I need to be obedient. Because if not, it's like when you put an address on your phone and you go and you miss the turn, and it's going
Hmm.
to redirect you, and chances are it's going to take you to a rundown area, a neighborhood you don't want to be at, somewhere that's not safe, or around a hillside, some turns that are very dangerous, because it's trying to get you to the destination that you're always supposed to be at. But you weren't obedient when you were supposed to make that right turn or the left turn. You weren't obedient to it. So it's going to give you the long way around. It ain't
Right.
going to be pretty, but you're going to end up in that destination.
Okay. So you say that we're using the GPS as example. So now you're saying it took you the long way, but then you got some people who decide I gotta take the shortcut. I can cut across this. Does that help or not?
It does and it doesn't, because I've also done that as well too. I done things sooner than I thought they were supposed to be done because I was impatient. Because something that I am not ever been was patient. I've always
Hmm.
wanted it now, instant gratification. I wanted to know my purpose. Like, now, what am I supposed to do? So I was given certain things to occupy me and really start to move things forward, but it was still ahead of its time.
Right.
The battle machine that I invented it 10 years ago. I was going to launch it when Trump took office, but then we went into a tariff war with aluminum and steel with China. Had I launched it, I would have lost everything. And when I mean everything, I probably would have took my life with it too.
Mm.
You know. Now, then after that, then the pandemic came, so everything shut down, and now we're in a recession. So I was called to write the book, and I was told to talk about my battle machine in my book and have it accessible to people if they wanted to buy buy a product of my machine. So
Hmm.
all the links are in my book. So I realize now that the book was supposed to be the platform to
Right.
launch the things that I'm meant to launch. But I was impatient, and that's when the injury came because I was in my job one day staring at four walls and out the window, and I'm like, God, is this what you have for me?
Mm.
You gave me this battle machine, and now you have me in these walls. 2 weeks later, I had the accident. He got me out of that job, but it wasn't ready. I wasn't meant to launch the machine yet.
Right.
But I still attempted to do it. But then I was like, wait a minute, no, this is not the right time, because if this happens, this happens, this happens, because I'm logical, because I come from a management background, and I'm always looking, no, no, this doesn't make any sense here. So I got it, but I don't got it because I can't do it, because if I do it, I'm gonna lose everything.
Right.
But I was still trying to find things, and I think I've learned a lot of things along the way. But one of the greatest lessons that I've learned was it wasn't the time yet. Now is the time,
Right.
because it's in the book.
Don't open the gift too early.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I did. It was in Christmas time, and I opened it before that,
Right.
and I got spanked for it. You know.
I get it. So what you just said, it sounds like me a lot because I'm very logical and I calculate everything and I got counter moves just in case I run into this roadblock. But it seems to be in this world that we live today, everything you just said is totally opposite. I need to get it fast in a hurry. And one of my biggest things is like some people get it early, some people get it late, but you're going to get it. Just because you can't get it when you got it, I'm supposed to get it. No, I might have got it first, but you're going to get it later. So everything you just said is like, how do you get someone to basically, I should say, like slow down? They're running 100 miles a minute. You're not, and take a deep breath and step back and see what's going on before you decide to do things.
It came to me that we're supposed to enjoy the journey, because the journey is what we're going to remember.
Right.
We're not going to remember the achievement as much as we're going to honor and respect the journey. And like for me, because I'm in front and I'm reaching all these people, I can't just tell them like, look, I punched it here and it came out here 2 weeks later. I'm famous, I'm rich, I'm here on stage. Well, that's not feasible, and that's not logical for a lot of people, because that's not the way it works. You know,
Right.
just like diamonds have to be pressured into
Pressure.
becoming diamonds. So it only makes sense that we also have to be molded and pressured into becoming something beautiful in the end result. So, but the enemy will send us things to get us antsy and impatient and whatnot, and not realizing, oh my God, what I'm doing now, it's beautiful, because I'm going on podcasts 5 to 7 times a week. That's 28 a month. I'm reaching all these people. I'm meeting all these individuals. I need to enjoy that process.
Right.
When I came up with the other things, I had to enjoy that process, because now when I'm on stage, I'm talking about the process, because that's what they're asking me. George, well, how do I do that? Where do I start? And what does that really look like? And realistically, not the quick thing, but realistically, what does that really look like? But now I'm able to say that. It
Right.
takes time. This is kind of at the time frame, and it might happen a little sooner or it might happen a little later, but enjoy the journey. Enjoy the people that you meet. You know, Take a break and look at the green trees. Take 3 breaths, listen to the birds chirping. I mean, the beautiful things of life that sometimes like we get so caught up and say like, I don't want that. I want the goal. I want the end result. But
Right.
that's not what life is.
That is, like you said, the end results. Everybody loves the butterfly, but disrespect don't disrespect the caterpillar.
Exactly.
So like you said, the journey is what it is, and that's the beautiful thing. And when you sit back and once you reach to the mountaintop or whatever you want to go to, Kilimanjaro, Everest, whatever, once you get to the top, you're gonna look down and be like, "Damn, I did this." and
Here's, here's another example that's really powerful that just came to me right now. My daughter's 25 years old.
okay,
Now, raising my daughter, I enjoyed that journey very much.
right,
And I always know that my daughter had a calling on her life, and I know she was special too, just like I've always had that calling, and I always knew that I had this knowing of me. I always known of her. Imagine me wanting to skip me that journey and just see her at 25 as this powerful individual.
right,
I wouldn't have any beautiful memories to remember.
right,
So if we put it in that perspective, we're like, wait a minute, no, 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 no. I saw her, speak for the very first time, say daddy for the first time, ride her first bike, play softball, become this individual, and all these memories, and dance with the father and dad are down to the quinceañera and whatnot. Not having that is not an option for me and wouldn't have been. So what makes me think that I can skip the journey and just have the end result, have a grown adult child,
I mean that's a lot of people these days.
right?
I mean, just look at the work. If you do the work will take care of you. So, I mean, but sometimes you can do the work, and sometimes it's just not meant to be.
Mhm.
And so it can go both places. But at the end of the day, if you fall down 7, you get up 8.
Absolutely, 100%, absolutely.
So that's just what all it is. So okay, so you reinvented, because we almost to time. You reinvented yourself. So you on stages now. You on stages now. Daughter's 25. You just seen that old journey. You done reached where you wanted to be at. What's next?
What's next for me is to reach a minimum of 100 million people with the message of answer the call, a minimum of 100 million people. And I think being on podcast and meeting people like yourself, I'm able to collaborate by reaching more people each time I get into a stage, each time I get on a podcast. If I'm able to transform this book into a movie or a mini series, we'll also quadruple and multiply that in insane numbers to be able to reach the people that I'm meant to reach. Because I do believe that each one of us that have a calling on our life are meant to reach a certain amount of individuals.
Hmm.
And that reach of individuals has a ripple effect because they also are meant to reach a certain amount of individuals
Right.
as a ripple effect.
Right. And it sounds like the ripple effect is, as long as I can reach one person, that's good enough for me. I mean, you can put a million people in one room, but somebody's one or two people is gonna leave out there with that message.
Correct.
And if, like you said in the beginning, that you like to pass information on, they may go passing information. And that's one. But I didn't mean to change the subject. But that's one thing. It's like I always look at it. If we are friends, how could we be friends if you can't? If I can't learn nothing from you, it's hard for me to be your friend, because you're supposed to pass down things that I did. I mean that you're doing. If I choose want to do it, you should just give me the information and let me put me on my journey. I don't ask you for no money. Just give me the information and put me on my journey.
Give me the opportunity to make that decision,
Right.
whether it's something usable or not usable for me. But give me that opportunity to decide. Don't decide that for me. Absolutely.
Right. All right. Well,
I believe that 100%.
definitely this was a pleasure for you to come on and take us through your journey. Before you leave, where can they find you at?
So they can find me at my Instagram. I'm most active there at George underscore V underscore Gonzalez, or they can find me at www dot georgevgonzalez.com. That's my website. That way, that is where you can find my book. You can actually download a free copy of my book. You can find also the mini real estate course that I have there, and also the batting machine and my speaking engagements and stuff like that. I'm looking to get on stages. If anybody can refer me somebody, I would truly be so humbled by that.
I'll definitely keep you in mind for something. I think something's coming up, but I got to call and make a call first. But I know on Amazon it's free Kindle, and I think the paperback was $14.95. I've
Yeah,
something already.
it's so the Kindle Unlimited version is a free because I believe that everybody that's a reader now should be rewarded with the free copy because that's what I'm trying to promote here. And then there's a $9.99 version and then a $24 version as well for the paperback version.
Okay.
Because some people want the written word.
Right. So I mean, some people have to actually physically put the book in their hand and read the words, and some of us can just strap earphones in and just go from there.
Exactly.
Me personally, I need the physical book so I can actually read the word. If you tell it to me, it's going to be like, it's going to go in one ear out the other.
I'm a true believer that words have energy, and the more I surround myself with books, I'm able to absorb the energy within the contents of these books. I've
Yeah,
always believed that.
words have energy, and words have people hold on them. They can relate to them. You
Exactly.
know? But thank you for coming in, George, for me. Answer the call. I mean, he explained where you can get it from. www.georgev.gonzalez.com. George_V_Gonzalez on Instagram. Also, Answer the Call is on Amazon. Next week, we're moving a day early. Next Tuesday is the third annual Halloween show. Oh, this before. Third annual Halloween show. So special guest Will, the guy who got stabbed with a fork outside the cookie shop in Tennessee, will be joining me next week for the annual Halloween show. So we'll see you Tuesday at 7 o'clock Tuesday for the annual Halloween show. For my guest George, myself, Amsterdam Talk Season 4, Episode 2. We'll see you next week. Remember, I just had it in my head. I forgot what I was getting ready to say, but hard work, dedication, a good support team, prayers and something. I forgot the whole thing. I forgot it. I used to say it all the time. But see you next week.
See ya.